Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
And good morning, and welcome to another Victory Monday. I'm Ken and Ken in the morning. The other Ken will be here momentarily, and I think Joe hopefully will be here momentarily. Good morning, Fred. Yeah, how's that for some news this weekend, right? The Bears are now the number one seed in the NFC after the Rams lost to Carolina. Yeah, not on my bingo card this season. I thought it was on many others, and of course, Joe's Raiders secure the number 2 pick, and they'll find a way to screw that up and end up with like the number 13 or something stupid like that. But hey, last night, I don't know how many of you guys watched Sunday Night Football. What a game! What a game! No, here comes the Broski Bear. Good morning, Broski.
Morning, Ken.
Hey, so yeah, number 1 seed.
Dude, what a difference a year makes, huh?
Yeah, literally 1 year.
Like literally. I mean, how crazy is this, man?
There, maybe that'll help the audio. Thank you, Jay.
But yeah, shout out to
it might help if I actually is the audio better now?
Yeah, that's much better. That's much better.
Help if I pull the mic closer to me. It was on the other side of the table.
Well,
it's Monday.
Well, hey, yeah, man, it's just insane how like the Vikings are now talking about like blowing everything up, like getting rid of the GM. Is KOC on the hot seat? Like, oh my goodness, man! And they were a 14-win team last year.
Yeah, I heard some of the stuff about Quezzy. And,
yeah,
I mean, look, I don't want to spend all morning on the Vikings.
No, definitely not. Yeah, definitely not.
And they're the. Oh, by the way, interesting fact: the Vikings were the first team to be blanked this season.
Really? Wow.
Yep, they put up the first donut of the season. Look, the Vikings aren't that bad, man. If you're a Vikings fan like Luca is, like dude, chill out, relax. You had injuries this year, across the board. You still have a good team. You just gotta get healthy. Could JJ be your guy, dude? It's only year 2. Wait to see what happens in year 3. That's usually that make or break year. Vikings fans, I get it. You go from 14 wins to 4 wins right now. I get it. Chill out. You'll make some moves in the offseason.
I can't hear you guys.
You don't fire the coach. They don't need to fire the coaching staff and the GM and everything because they had a down year. Oh, lost Joe.
Yeah, no, I hear you with that, man. It's just one of those dramatic seasons, for them. But yeah, like you said, don't want to spend time talking Lions. I mean, we want to talk some Bears, and
yeah. Bears, Commanders, Broncos was a great game last night too. There were a lot of really good games this holiday weekend.
Yep.
The Bears being 9-3 and the number 1 seed in the NFC was not on my bingo card for Week 13.
Not on mine either. And call it a coincidence, Ken, but Broski owns the state of Pennsylvania. So as Broski is traveling, as he arrives in Pennsylvania, the Chicago Bears beat the city of my birth, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then they, later that week, they proceed to beat the city I was raised in with the Philadelphia Eagles. And then as I arrive in Charlotte, as I'm pulling up in Charlotte yesterday, the Panthers are taking it to the Rams. So I don't know. Maybe it's wherever Broski travels, the teams I want to win are going to win. I don't know. And I'll even throw in the Cowboys beating the Eagles on Sunday night when I was posted up watching that game. Things are just going great right now, man. I'm thrilled.
Well, once again, Carolina gives the Bears a gift, with beating the Rams. And now look, you've got Bears fans who are talking Super Bowl, and Packer fans are like, whoa, 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 hold the phone. You guys don't deserve to talk Super Bowl. But you know what? While I am not talking Super Bowl personally myself, saying that, oh yeah, the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl and all this other good stuff, I completely understand why there are so many Bears fans who are excited to the point where they're talking about Super Bowl aspirations. As far as I'm concerned, we're playing with house money right now.
I'm with you 100% on both those points.
Every week, Bears fans have been told how they're going to lose, and every week the Bears have found a way to win.
Yep.
And I had this thought this morning. I was setting stuff up for the show. The Bears this year are very quietly having a franchise year. Think of all the records they have set that have sat with this team for almost 50 years, 40, 50 years. For the first time since the 85 Super Bowl team, you had two rushers for over 100 yards in a game. You have the best ranked offense in Chicago since the 1970s. You have the number one ranked offense in the NFL since week 4 or week 3. The number one ranked rushing offense in the NFL since week 3.
Yep.
You lead the league in takeaways. 3 of the top 4 guys in takeaways individually are all Bears. I mean, this is very quietly, Joe, a Super Bowl team.
I mean, there are two things that you just said that lend well to that is they're one of the top rushing offenses in the league, and they're top in takeaways. Though both those things translate well to the playoffs. Like that's things that make a team dangerous. So, and go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say they travel well. Like defense and running the ball when you're on the road or in the playoffs. I mean, hey, that's what travels, man.
Well, and look, as far as the defense of that, which was a legitimate look, for the second week in a row, we played with linebackers number 5 and 6 on the depth chart.
Yep.
We're still gotta get healthy there. We got Jalen Johnson back, had a good game. Nahshon Wright, who is the backup for Jalen, and Tyreek Stevenson pressed into service yet again because Tyreek Stevenson's out, and he has the strip of Jalen Hurts, or basically just stole the football from him on the tush push. He's having a bit, he's number 1. He's tied for number 1 in the league for takeaway. And that's your backup. Right?
There's a chance the Bears might not have to travel anywhere. I mean, they're tied with the Rams right now, 9-3, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the Rams have a first place schedule from last year?
Yeah, but I mean, the Bears' schedule is not easy. I mean, the easiest game on there theoretically.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying the Rams, if they have the number 1 schedule, then their schedule shouldn't be that easy either, right?
Right.
So who do the Rams have left?
Let's find out. I can find out really quick here.
Okay, yeah, I'll let Broski look that one up. The Bears have all playoff teams except for the Browns. 2 for the Packers. The Lions aren't a playoff team right now, technically. But they got the Lions, 2 with the Packers, the Browns, and the Niners. This is what the Bears got.
So the Rams have at Arizona versus Detroit, at Seattle, at Atlanta, and home versus Arizona. They have a cakewalk, actually.
They have a cupcake. They have a cupcake schedule, dude.
Yeah, they got a cakewalk.
The Lions have a tough schedule. You kind of feel bad for the Lions, and then you kind of don't. You kind of don't because of the way a lot of their fan base has talked over the last 2 years or so towards people. Because if you look at their schedule, like they're 7-5, they're not a bad football team. They're having some dysfunction in their coaching realm, whereas we're really seeing what we all said was going to happen, that Ben Johnson leaving was going to create an issue for them, and it has, because they're not their calling is terrible. They have a good head coach who can't design nor call an offense, but that's okay. He's still a good head coach. He's a
Mhm.
great actually. He's a great motivator. Great. He sets the tone phenomenally. Um, but they've got a really hard schedule. They need help from the Bears and Packers. They need Bears and Packers to lose. Now, luckily for the Lions, the Bears played the Packers twice in 3 weeks. In a scenario for the Lions, and they'll love this, they need the Bears to sweep the Packers as part of their plan, if you think about it, because if you sweep the Packers and you win those weeks, the Packers lose, that's 2 games you just gained. So they need to flip-flop. Their best option right now is to flip-flop with the Pack or the Bears. It could happen with the Bears too, I suppose. They need either the Bears or the Packers to get swept by the other team. That's almost, I won't say mandatory, but a pretty big piece of their plan to get in the playoffs is they need the Bears or the Packers too. If the Bears and Packers split, which I think is more likely than not because of the proximity of games, um, it doesn't help them.
Yeah. And here's the Lions' remaining schedule while I have it up. It's versus Dallas, then at the Rams, versus the Steelers, at Minnesota, then at Chicago.
Their easiest game in there is Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Dallas, the Rams, and Pittsburgh. I mean, these are all playoff teams. These are all teams fighting, like Dallas and Pittsburgh fighting just to make the playoffs as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, they have their work cut out for them, that's for sure.
I'll say this: I would like the Lions to beat the Cowboys in a weird way. I mean, then we have to hear we still haven't lost back-to-back game crap, but I don't want to see the Cowboys make the playoffs more than the Lions. I mean, you do not want a hot Cowboys team in the playoffs.
Yeah. And like what you mentioned earlier about like losing the coaching, losing Ben Johnson, we know the Lions offensive line isn't what it was last year or the year before. I mean, we knew that going into the season. That being said, it's still, you can make an argument anyway that if they did have some better play calling, better decision making, with offensive plays during a number of games, that even with a lesser offensive line this season, they could have won those games or, had a better chance to win those games. So my point being is Ben Johnson, to me, losing him is the number one reason why the Lions are struggling.
Yeah, they have not recovered from that. And we heard, Morton's going to be just fine, but no, Morton hasn't been just fine. And so Dan Campbell took it away. And it's like, even if you have the playbook, and the playbook hasn't changed much, but they're going to make minor changes, but the base is the same, right? It's about the guy calling the plays and the timing of the plays he calls, and they have not mastered that in Detroit at all.
They definitely haven't figured that out. And Ken, honestly, it's to the point where I think next season they're going to go in a different direction with like a new system altogether on offense, because I don't think they really have a choice at this point.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. You can't keep trotting, especially when the coach who designed your offense or who best runs your offense is in your division. You just can't. It's not sustainable. Yep. But I'll go ahead and put this out there. I welcome. I mean, I don't want the Cowboys to make the playoffs, but if I'm a team with a decent defense, I'm not one bit worried about it, because I know playoff Dak is going to show up, and I'm not worried about
it. You're not wrong. I mean, there is that. You're not wrong, Joe.
But the other side to that coin this season is, CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, and then having that tight end Ferguson.
Yeah,
that's incredible. And then and the way they're running the ball, they have their own version of
explosive, man.
Yeah, they have their own slash and bash. They have that, Williams and Turpin, the little water mite, and little water mite. Yeah, they're a good team, man.
Yeah, but once the playoffs hit, you know, playoff Dak is gonna show up, dude. Like until he proves me wrong, that's my
I hear
opinion.
you. I totally hear you, man.
Yeah, I
But
mean, Fred hits
if
it
the
there. Like,
Bears could somehow sweep the Packers, like that would be huge, dude. Because not just for like playoff seeding and stuff like that, like having a shot at the number 1 or number 2 overall seed, right? But
Yeah.
like you would have what they call a streak going against the Packers. Like that would be
Well,
3 straight games.
it's not just that. I mean, look at the Bears' last 5. If somehow, look at, I as a Bears fan, I'm going to say yes. We're going to sweep the Packers, right? Good morning, Ken.
What's up?
But trying to be as realistic as possible, dude. It's really hard when you play a team twice in 3 weeks, with adjustments and everything else. It's hard for any team to sweep any other team like that. But if the Bears, let's say they go 4-1 the last 5, and they're entering the playoffs kind of hot, and they're still improving, right? We have not seen that offense in full Ben Johnson mode yet, if you will. The defense, we saw some improvement this weekend. It's not 100% there, but look, you got to give the defense credit in this Eagles game. They stopped Saquon. They made Jalen Hurts very uncomfortable to where, remember before the game, we don't turn the ball over in Philadelphia. We're the number 1 team in the NFL for not turning the ball over. Well, Jalen, you turned it over twice, right? So, I mean, the Bears made him uncomfortable on defense. They made him make a bad throw. They got the push stop that turned into a fumble, a strip fumble, right? The defense isn't. It's kind of like this. Bears fans, almost every week, we need to run the ball more. We need to establish the run. Dude, you're number 1 in the NFL in running. How much more do you need to establish the run? You're already number 1.
You know what it is?
It's kind of the same thing on defense. Like we're bitching about defense, broski, but the defense is actually playing good. Yeah, we're not getting the sacks, and that's the
Right.
big sack thing. But they're doing a lot of other things that don't necessarily show up in the stat category.
Yeah.
It's like all these times they made Hurts uncomfortable, made him dump the ball early, made him throw it away. They don't count as pressures, most of them.
Sure. And I think a lot of Bears fans were looking at it like, before the Eagles game, like we really, if the Bears really decided to and really wanted to, I don't think anyone could have predicted as effective and as well that they ran the ball against the Eagles, but it would be something similar, something in the vicinity. Like the Bears really can line up and just run right at you and be very successful. And I think a part of it also was they wanted to see Monangai get some more touches in between the tackles, you know what I mean? And not that Swift can't run between the tackles, but that's Monangai's specialty. So, and it all came to fruition against the Eagles. So that was a thing of beauty.
Picked up
Monangai was
Monangai in
ripping-
the picked up
seen the
Monangai in the
nickname?
fantasy.
Monangai
Yeah.
was ripping off chunks up right up the middle, dude. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, not that I couldn't believe it. Monangai's good.
So have you seen their
Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter? They're hard to run against, and he made it look easy, dude.
And
Yeah,
that was another storyline, was that the whole Darnell Wright, Jalen Carter thing with like, hey, the Bears traded back with the Eagles, during that Bryce draft trade year. The Bears passed on Carter, the Eagles took Carter, the Bears took Wright. Well, going back and looking at the film, and even with all the announcers or whatever were saying, like Wright definitely got the better of that matchup when they went head to head. So
That's been the most impressive about the Bears is the run game. You know what I mean? The different styles that you guys use your run game. Swift, being healthy is the big key to that. Like when Swift is out. I mean, even though Monangai, does a good job filling in, but Swift is definitely the focal point of that run game. When he's healthy, things go
and
really
Swift
good
has
for the
been
Bears.
healthy. Swift has been healthy overall in Chicago. He's been very durable. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is now what they're calling them.
oh
Came
wow,
out this weekend, the Bruise Brothers.
I like it. I do like it. That's
like
good.
it too.
I like watching Lions fans crash out when like Bears fans like just teasing, just saying, "Oh, they're the better run duo." And Lions fans are all crashing out. Oh, it's Gibbs, it's Montgomery, stop!
Yep.
No, wait. I want to go to what Bill asked, what do you think of that catch? Well, there were 3 phenomenal catches this weekend. You had the Puka Nakua catch, which was insane. You had the touchdown catch. Oh, what's the guy's name from the Redskins who did last night? That was insane. And
Oh, that
the
was
Brock
nice.
Bowers touchdown reception, which
I'm
was
glad you
friggin'
brought that up, dude.
there were
That
3 friggin'
That was a
one-handed
dirty one.
snags that all 3 we were just like, which one of these is play of the week? Because they all 3
Puka.
could.
Dang.
I don't know, man. That Bowers catch, like he grabbed it off his shoestring with one hand, dude.
Yeah,
Dang,
that
I
was
gotta look
nasty.
at
But
that.
Puka's was almost OBJ-ish. You know what I
No,
mean?
oh no,
Just
no, no, no. The one that was even more OBJ-ish was that one of the Redskins game for the touchdown too. Though that thing was
that was
they
filthy
all 3
too.
look. It's going to be hard. We could argue these all day because all 3 were so very similar, and 2 were more impactful, being touchdowns. But all 3 catches, you were just like your
What's up with
jaw hit
this
the ground.
this season?
Yeah,
This season has been strange. Like there's one week where there was like what 3 or 4 blocked field goals.
right.
Now this one week has like 3, 4 one-handed catches. Like
I
it's
think.
just
Let me
been
say this to you really quick.
eh,
What season has not been strange?
yeah. But no, this one
Every
in
year we say
particular.
the same thing, though. Man, this season is so strange because X, Y, or Z has happened. We say it every season. At this point, I'm just
No,
like,
we haven't seen a season where 3 or 4 things happen in the same week. You know what I
so
mean?
that's this
And
year's wrinkle. That's
yeah,
probably the way to put it. It's this year's
yeah,
wrinkle.
yeah.
I mean, it does
Right.
seem like there's a lot of worst to first this year, like in divisions.
Yeah.
Like you got the Colts, the Jaguars, the Bears. Like
Well, that
like
shows parity, and that brings another interesting point, though, Broski, because you got 3 teams that went from worst to first. Well, 2 that went worst to first, 1 that wasn't from third to first, because New England was third last year, if I remember correctly. 3 new head coaches and 3 teams that are top of their division with brand new coaches: Jacksonville, Chicago, and New England. All 3 have new head
Mhm.
coaches.
Yep.
All 3 are top of their division right
By the way, thank you, Rams, for making our Panthers loss look a little bit better.
now. I mean, that
Hey,
that so
Panthers, Panthers are actually, if you look at that defense, especially Derek Brown, that guy's just a wrecker. He just wrecks fucking offensive lines. And JC Horn is probably one of the best fucking corners out there, you know?
well, they're going to be another team you don't want to sleep on. Like everyone knew, we knew
Yeah.
they were getting better, right? We all knew they were getting better. We just didn't know how much better they were going to be. And look, they're playing in a weak division,
Mhm.
you know, because Baker. Well, the Bucks are back on track after their win this weekend. They had a 3-game skid that was not really like. You look at them at the beginning of the year, and like, and now you're on a 3-game skid. Like, I mean, I think Baker's going to win this division still, but you can look at Carolina now, and you're like, well, they passed Atlanta, and Nola. We're not even going to talk about. While Nola has shown glimpses of life, Nola is still Nola this year. We knew they'd be better. They're going to be another team if they somehow get in the playoffs. How dangerous are they going to be?
Their run game is solid, dude.
Yeah, Dowdle is nasty.
Not just Dowdle. Chuba Hubbard was getting chunks yesterday too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chuba had a revived game.
Dowdle reminds me of Marion Barber, the way he runs. You know what I mean? He just runs violently.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am looking forward. Of course, we'll get into War Week and all that good stuff later in the week because Bears, Packers. You've got Lions, Cowgirls. The skipper game. Will he report? By the way, it was great seeing Christian Wirfs report and get the touchdown in the Tampa Bay game. When Wirfs gets a touchdown, things are going well in Tampa. That game last night, though, man, the Commanders were in it, and I get they went for 2 for the win instead of go for the tie. I get it. Why not? You've only won 4 games. Do it. They've had some miracles happen in DC over the last couple of years. I mean, I was there for one of them. But that was a great game last night. But I don't know if that's more of an indictment of what a lost season it was for Washington, or just like how Denver, while they're still good and they've got a great record, may not be as good as we laud them for. It's like
Credit
the Bears
to-
are the inverse. Everyone keeps saying the Bears are going to lose every week, and yet they keep winning. Denver's like, oh, they're going to win every game, and they barely win every game. I mean, they are winning. I'll give them
Credit to Nick
there,
Bonito
but I
to
think-
making that. Credit to Nick Bonito to making that play. Man,
Yeah.
freaking, Chris Rodriguez was wide open. You know what I mean? And would have won that game if Nick Bonito wasn't in fucking Mariota's face.
So I mean, and the way they were saying Mariota. I mean, they were like, I was like, what the heck are they? Maybe like someone from his family called. No, you have to say it like this. I don't. That was weird listening to them all night call his name. But I mean,
if Myles Garrett wasn't having the season that he's having, I think Nick Bonito might have a case for Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, 100%.
He's been balling, dude.
It's
just unfortunate for him that Myles is going to break the sack record
well,
this year.
You could look at a couple Bears, Bears guys who believe it or not. I mean, look at you got 3 of the top 4 in turnovers are Bears. You're not telling me one of those guys shouldn't have, I'm saying one of those guys should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year too, generating all those turnovers.
I think Myles Garrett's made it this year that nobody can even be in the conversation with him with the monster year he's having.
The guys who get the sacks are going to get it, but I asked this question again though: what's more impactful, a sack or a turnover?
Oh, Myles Garrett does both.
I mean, but still, like, okay, like you can get sacked on 2nd down, and now you're 3rd and 15, and you can still get the first down. If the ball gets picked off, you can't do anything. The other team now has the ball.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think sacks are more sustainable than the turnovers, to where if you got a team that's high in sacks, you can count on them to get a sack, where the turnovers, there's a little bit of luck that's involved in that one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting next season, because if you miss on punching out a ball, it's a penalty now. You know what I mean? So, like, that's going to be an interesting thing that comes into play next year.
What a stupid rule.
I know, it's so dumb.
I mean, but there's certain ball hawkers, like there's a certain ball hawk in Chicago who, since he's been in the league, has always been the top of the interception class every year. And he's getting old, but he's still really good. I mean, so that, just like a sack artist,
Well, but in Myles Garrett's case, he has 19 sacks, 28 tackles for loss, and 30 QB hits, and he has 5 games left. Like, that's insane.
I mean,
and he has
3 forced fumbles. And 3 forced fumbles.
Look, I get it. The edge rusher is always going to get deference, right? Because there is a ton of impact there. I think, though, that we don't look at the corners and the safeties enough, though, because they do make some massive impacts as well. It's just not as sexy.
Oh yeah,
no, they do.
And I agree with you, Ken. I think actually that the turnover is more impactful than the sack. It's just that in order to be comparable to Myles Garrett's sack numbers, they would have to have like 10 or 12 picks. Like they would have to have like a Lester Hayes type of season. You know what I mean? Like in order to make it comparable.
If he breaks the sack record, which he's gonna do, like the way he's going, his trajectory, he has 25 written on his gloves. You know what I mean? Which is, he needs, what Strahan was 24.5, I think. Yeah, 24.5.
I thought it was 22 and a half.
Yeah, it's 22 and a half.
And okay. I thought it was 24.5.
And you know what's sad is? He still
but 25
is nuts.
Yeah.
You know what's sad, though, is he still wouldn't be able to be the MVP with that, even with that.
I know. That's what's sucks.
And I don't know. With a year like that, you could get one of those rare instances where a defensive player wins MVP. If anybody's close to a Lawrence Taylor type of season, I would say Myles Garrett is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let's think about it too. It's like if he averages 2 sacks a game for the rest, for the 5 remaining games, that puts him at 29 sacks. That's 1 away from 30, dude. He might have 30 in his sights.
Oh my God.
So you're telling me Mark Gastel can stop fucking chasing around Brett Favre?
He'll
Dude,
still cry about Favre.
Right?
30 sacks would be insane.
Yeah, 30 sacks, man. I mean, it's not out of the realm too, because like he gets like 3 or 4 a game.
Well, we know he probably will get. Oh, he might get one against Caleb. Caleb's kind of hard to sack, but they got the Bears. But that, that's that talk about that offensive line. That's another thing with Chicago. Last year, Caleb was the most sacked. Now he's. I mean, that number's been cut by more than half, and part of that's on him. I talked about it Sunday a little bit. Caleb helps this offensive line immensely because he is a Harry Houdini when it comes to defensive ends chasing him down. Like he has escaped a lot of sacks that you're like, how the hell did he do that?
It's not about like for Miles Garrett, it's not about his bull rush or not his or his like his moves to get to the backfield. It's his footwork. If you look at his footwork, it's probably the quickest I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like he's quicker than fucking almost wide receivers running routes. Like it just you watch his feet, they move super quick, and there's no way, a 300-pound offensive lineman or whatever can stop that.
It's going to be interesting, Broski, because the Bears, if you think about the next 3 games, we get 2 games against a certain guy that Green Bay traded for, and we get Miles
Mr.
Garrett.
Parsons.
I mean, you got.
I mean,
next-
the O line's going to have to go out and prove it again. Every week. I mean, especially when you're playing Green Bay. I mean, they've got a great defensive line, generating pressure, just, playing the run. But it's really going to hurt them with having that big guy in the middle out for them. That really could tilt it towards the Bears even more than it possibly was before, because I don't know if I can say overall that the Packers D-line is better than the Eagles, and you saw what the Bears just did to the Eagles. So the Packers without this, Wyatt or whatever his name is, it's going to be tough, man. And don't get me wrong, it's also that rival. So both teams are going to.
You go from though. I'm just talking though. I don't want to talk too much about the Bears Packers games because trust me, we're gonna get that ad nauseum this week.
All right,
but I'm talking just like in the term of elite pass rusher. The next 3 games, we got an elite pass rusher in every game. 3, and then we catch a little bit of break. San Francisco, do they really have an elite pass rusher right now? I think they're just kind of as a totality, they're kind of good. And then we get Hutchinson in week 8, the final week.
I thought you said elite pass rusher.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if Hutch is teetering. He's
I'd agree probably that he's teetering. He hasn't had this season, but you know what? Like the Lions defensively this season, with their defensive change, really, I don't know if it's. In some ways, I want to say it's better than when AG was there. In other ways, it's not. Like you're seeing Hutch's production go down, but I think some of that because of the way they've schemed him, and they've schemed that defense.
Well,
but like. These pass rushers, could Myles Garrett be an MVP? I mean, if he gets 30, could he be an MVP?
Here's the thing about Hutchinson is he has a hard time beating double teams. You know what I mean? Double teams really limit his game.
Let's go back to the question though. More. I mean, we can break down because we're gonna play these guys. We're gonna break that kind of stuff down. Look, Myles Garrett, if he gets a 30 sacks. Is he a legitimate MVP candidate over a quarterback?
He's most likely to. I mean, I consider 2 players that could get it over a quarterback, and that's Myles Garrett and Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, if he gets 25, I think you have to consider it. Like that's a monster season, dude. Like
that really is.
Jonathan Taylor, I understand where your heart is with that one, right? Mm-hmm. But unless he breaks the single season rushing record, not even in the conversation. Because otherwise Saquon would have won it last year.
I mean, if you look at Jonathan Taylor though, like the touchdowns that he has with so early in the season.
got to break
Like,
a
he's just
record.
racking
You're
them.
gonna-
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the consensus has been like if you don't break a record like a long-standing record like that,
Mm.
you're not in. So he has to break LaDainian Tomlinson's touchdown record plus have yards. And so short of doing that, he's not going to be in that conversation. And with their offense sputtering the last couple weeks, right, in Indy, I don't know if that's going to happen.
The real Daniel
Myles
Jones showed
Garrett,
up.
if he gets to 30 and just blows the sack record out of the water, you almost he has to be in that conversation over a quarterback. But that because it's weird because quarterbacks don't have to even break any records; they just have to have a really good year, and they're the MVP, right? I mean, they might break a record or two along the way, but they don't have to break any substantially like huge records. They just have to have a phenomenal best quarterback that year, pretty much. That's always what the MVP award is now, the best quarterback of the year. Because like if Myles Garrett gets 30 and he's not even in the conversation, then there's a problem with that award.
I feel so bad for Myles Garrett. He had 5 sacks in a game and still lost. Like it's just like that's very frustrating. Where you do everything in your power to dominate a game and still lose badly. Like it just doesn't add up. You know what I mean? Like
And Shador Sanders did not have a really good game for Cleveland. Their offense, even their running game, which has been actually pretty decent, sputtered. And Garrett, you got to feel the guy's got to be like, why don't you take the Bears offer and take all the first round picks and ship me off to Chicago right now? He almost has to be thinking that, right? Because he's like, I am having a career year and I'm in the basement, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do. Even Cincinnati is now doing way better than us with Burrow back, and there's just nothing else I can do. I'm doing everything, and you still can't win. I mean, I'm basically destroying games, and I hand you the game on a silver platter, and you still find a way for us to lose.
It's sad. And then, man, Shador had an easy touchdown too, like to Jerry Jeudy, and just completely overthrew it. It was like, oh man, and you can see Jerry Jeudy yelling at Shador.
I was about to bring that up, Isaac. Speaking of that, did you see the way that Jeudy tore into him?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I don't think Judy's too happy with Shador quarterback.
It's like,
So
because
is this a good? Yeah, but Stefanski's already announcing that he's going to be. So is this the right move for Cleveland? I mean, is this their way forward?
I think so.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might as well at this point in the year. You might as well see if he can possibly be your answer for next year. If not, they got to start that quarterback train all over again.
Yeah,
And,
you got to
and
get his
Barry,
feet
my
wet.
answer to this question is no. Stefanski.
I think
not
he
on
could
the hot
be.
Well, Stefanski, let's see if he keeps his job first.
I think he does. Look, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Everyone knows he's a good coach. He's one of those guys where everyone knows he's a great coach, and his GM has not done him any favors, put it that way, and everyone knows it.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago he was. Yeah, 2 seasons ago he's coach of the year. You know.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, if anyone's on the hot seat, it's that GM, and that's kind of like Minnesota. Like anyone's on the hot seat, it's not KOC, it's Quezzy.
Well,
You
and
know,
I
I
look
mean-
and I look at hey, who was that? Was that Ken? Was that Ken, a Packer fan?
Yeah.
I
That was,
think it was Ken.
that was a bit of prediction from the future of what's going to happen with the Bears this Sunday.
Oh, I thought that was the Packers middle linebacker after he got trucked by Mononga, spitting out teeth.
This is what they'll
It's that-
feel like at the end of the week.
Sounds like Ben Johnson, you know, the Peanuts teacher. Wah, 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 wah,
The Bears are going to shoot themselves in the foot on Sunday. I got it.
But yeah, back to Myles Garrett though. Like, yeah, you know what? Another one too. Like, sorry to bring this up, Joe, but Max Crosby too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's putting
he had
out a
a
lot of
game.
effort too. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And Raiders are losing these games, and you can see there's some frustration with Max Crosby. He's arguing with a couple teammates on the sideline. You know, like he has both of these players want a propensity to win. You know what I mean? That's all they care about is winning. You know what I mean? They
Hey,
don't care about
Bill?
the money. They don't care about anything else. They just
Hey,
want
Isaac,
to win.
hold on, Bill.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for Al Davis to put anyone in the hot seat. Al Davis passed away a couple years ago.
Just a few years
Couple
ago.
years ago.
Oh,
Just
right.
saying.
Rest in peace, Al. But
Yeah.
you know, Carroll, So Max is obviously frustrated, but I don't think it's frustrating. I don't think he's frustrated to the point where he wants to leave. He just wants people to do their job. And so like there's a lot of breakdowns in coverage and things that Max is seeing, and he's like, dude, we fucking practice this. Like what why is it when we get to the game, like you can't do the same thing that you do in practice? Like, and the team listens to Max. Like even if Max is Max is not the type that's like always yelling at people. If Max is talking to you, it means you fucked up.
They've
And
got
so
pieces. You've got guys like Chin. Chin is a baller, right? They've got some guys on defense.
yeah, we just don't have enough.
They've got some guys on offense, but and look at Gino yesterday. Because I saw quite a bit of that game. Gino, like, he wasn't horrible. Like, really, Gino gets some bad luck in there too. And his offensive line does not necessarily do him any favors. But I get why Raiders fans are like, what the hell with Gino? But it's more than just Gino.
No, it's the offensive line is absolutely dog shit.
Exactly.
They're going to address it. The Raiders have over $100 million in cap space this coming offseason. I fully expect them to address the offensive line. I also think they're going to draft a quarterback. I'm hoping.
So that's interesting though, Joe, because like offensive line, like that's your need. That's Detroit's need. That's the Green Bay Packers need. That's the Minnesota Vikings need. Look at just between my division and your team, right? Out of 5 possible teams, 4 need offensive line help. And the Bears are going to draft offensive line anyways. That's probably the smart thing to do. Okay, so we got 4 out of these 5 teams, and that's if you look at that percentage, now go NFL wide, probably like 20 teams out of the 32 need offensive line help in a big way.
And if you want to look at the secret to like the Bears and the Panthers' success and how they're playing, Panthers invested heavily in that O-line 2 off seasons ago, and then the Bears obviously this past off season. But
and the Colts too.
You can't just look at. I think like the Bears are a bad example because the Bears did 2 things, but people are going to give credit to one thing. The Bears went out in free agency and got a center, a right guard, and a left guard. Well, free agency / trading, right? And then they've got rookie, the carousel of young guys at left tackle. It seems it doesn't matter who we put at left tackle; they're all playing well. And that leads me to the second piece: was the coaching change.
All except Braxton.
I think some of these offensive lines where you have issues right now, it's not because it's your backup. The Bears are proving we've had 3 different left tackles, and all 3 left tackles have played really well this year and not giving up sacks and not giving up the pressures, and they've done really well at left tackle. All 3. Even the guy Broski hates, who's on the IR right now, did well in the beginning of the year.
Braxton sucked. That's why I got benched.
It's coaching, right? The coaching is the difference. The scheme is the difference for a lot of these offensive lines.
But they invested heavily. They brought in, like you said, 3 new interior O linemen. I mean, that's a pretty significant investment right there. And then a second-round draft pick on a tackle. So it's
I'm not. That's part of it, but people are going to attribute all of it to that, and that's not true. The other piece of that pie is if you would have had the same play caller the Bears had last year, this offensive line, while it would have improved because the personnel maybe were better, it would still suck.
I don't know. So you're trying to say the Bears and Panthers they didn't heavily invest in their O lines? I'm not really understanding.
They did it. What I'm saying is some of these teams that have offensive line problems already have the investment made. They've got the pieces there that can make them have a good offensive line, but their coaching half of it is lacking. It's not just investing in the players. It's having the coaching to go with the players you've invested in. And for whatever reason,
but you got to get the good players in too.
Well, no, in some cases they have the players are there. Like they've got these guys are talented guys. The problem is the coaching isn't there. They're not
right, but I'm just talking about what actually happens.
They're not coaching. Hold on, broski. They're not coaching to the strengths of what they've got. And it's a twofold problem. It's yes, you have to invest, broski. You have to get the personnel. You have to have talented players. The other piece is you have to have coaches who can properly utilize the players that you get.
Yeah.
And that's why we always saw in Chicago, Jay Leno Jr. leave Chicago and becomes an All-Pro. What the hell? You know, you see guys, they leave your team and you're like, oh, yeah, this guy's a bum. Thank God he's not on our offensive line. And then he goes to another team, and next thing you know, he's an all-pro. And he's a cornerstone of a franchise and all these other things. So what's the difference? Not the player. He's still got the same skills that he had when he played for your bum-ass team.
So,
So
sorry if you're
coaching.
sorry if you're listening, JB, but that Ragnow story is still comedy. Like, Lions fans thought he was going to be the savior, and that fucking
Yeah.
fell apart
But
quick.
Yeah,
my
sorry,
whole point was, but Ken, to what you're saying,
sorry, I
Ken,
meant Charles. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, those players weren't on the Bears though, so like they didn't already have it. You know what I mean? They had to bring them in. But they could. Well, okay, I'm talking about Tooney, Dahlman, and Jonah Jackson, and then Ozzie Trapia. You know what I mean? They weren't on the Bears last year.
But I mean, it's twofold because how many times have we also seen where you bring in guys who are good with another team, and they get to your team, and all of a sudden they're not performing. You're like, well, what the fuck? This guy sucks.
Yeah.
What a bust. The GM is stupid. It's because it's twofold. It's like you're not wrong.
But the first step is the first step is you got to bring in a good guy. If you bring in a Nate Davis, nobody's coaching him.
Right. You have to invest. You're right. You have to invest. You're correct on that. But the other piece is the coaching has to be there with that investment. And I think what you're seeing with some of these teams, like the Raiders, like the Vikings, well, the Vikings have injury issues. The Packers have had injury issues. But the Lions this year, you know, it's not that the backups aren't good quality guys who should be able to sustain them for a little bit. Is that coaching? That, you know, when that kind of stuff happens, like what's happening in Green Bay and Minnesota and Detroit, it shows the chink in the armor of the coaching staff.
Yeah. And Ken, to your point though, like Dan Richard, the O-line coach for the Bears, oh my gosh, amazing job.
I think the Raiders are a perfect example of what you're talking about. Like, as far as what Ken is talking about with the twofold thing, first of all, they haven't invested. They tried to invest last year. They drafted a guard and a tackle in the third round, but Pete refuses to play them. Yesterday was the first time that the guard actually got to see the field, and we're in week 12. Like, you know, but we've been injured since like on the offensive line since like week 4, week 5. But he keeps going with this same group of Meredith and Kappa, guys who we know suck, and he wouldn't play the rookies. And it's not just the offensive line rookies either. Like, there's a few rookies that he's just not playing for whatever reason.
And the other piece
to me that says coaching. Like, and like I even made this complaint earlier in the season. Like, so we have Jackson Powers Johnson, who last year played at center and was a pretty good center, and then they switched him to left guard when he played right guard. Like, and it just they swapped that whole offensive line out other than Colton Miller, and it just didn't make sense. Like, so coaching to me, the coaching is part of a huge part of the reason why the Raiders' offensive line is terrible. Is like they're not putting the players in the best position to succeed, and they're not playing the young guys to give them any sort of snaps to get them ready so that they might be able to contribute next year.
And look, your offensive scheme on top of the coaching matters too. You know, what you're asking, what the scheme asks them to do matters too. And Chicago's had a complete scheme change, and it's gone well for the investment they made. So it's a two-handed problem. But, you know, as I go back to, we have almost 20 teams in this league where fans are like, oh, we need O-line help. Dude, where do you guys think you're going to get all this O-line help? There aren't that many O-linemen in the draft. That's going to, you know, it's not like we're going to see 80 O-linemen draft in this draft, which 20 might be impactful. We're not going to see that. There aren't going to be many free agents available that teams are going to let go right now. We've seen that the offensive linemen are getting paid because there are, quote unquote, not that many good ones. But I would argue that there are more good ones or more serviceable, good offensive linemen who could really do good things for your team that more times than not, it's just the coaching. And now what does that say? Well, we're in this situation right now where the schemes that coaches want to run in the NFL don't match the player personnel pool that's currently available to them. Will that change? Yes. It takes a couple years of reaction from high school through college. You know, good 4 to 6 years for those types of players to be produced as college coaches and high school coaches start reacting on that trickle down of the style of play, right? So we're in that weird situation right now. I think like Green Bay is doing admirably well considering the amount of
All
backups
right.
they have in, and their coaching staff has done pretty decent. Now look, they have some coaching issues too that the Packer fans have voiced concern about. I think the Lions fans as well, Vikings
That's
fans.
mhm.
Go ahead.
That's why. That's why Gutekunst is not going to get fired, or he's going to get extended. Like Lafleur has some work to do to get extended because both their contracts are up in 2026. Gutekunst is intelligent enough to draft depth pieces and two-way players that can play
Yeah, but
multiple
where's your number
positions.
one draft pick
Mhm.
this year?
I mean,
It's Micah
he has a lot
Parsons.
to learn.
Mike Parsons.
Oh yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
It's Golden, and Golden has what, 6 receptions on the year?
You're okay. You're talking about this past draft. I thought you meant the
Yeah, so
upcoming one.
Gutekunst, I mean, the Micah Parsons trade maybe saves his job because, like, in the
Yeah,
draft,
because let me tell you, his signings of Hobbs and Banks definitely are a major negative mark on his record.
Yeah, trash.
and he hasn't drafted that well either in terms of skill players. Your number one pick this year has got maybe 6 receptions, and then the guys he does draft that you've had some success have durability issues. I would tell you, I would think he's on the hot seat before LaFleur. But you know what I always hate about this? Like, let's look what's going on in Miami, who won another game this week. Go figure. Their head coach is safe. Ownership likes their head coach. They're going to get a new GM. That new GM at some point is going to say, I need my own coach. McDaniels might be gone. Maybe not this year, but next year, if they don't win 9 games, that GM is going to be looking for an excuse. If the Packers say, you know what, if the brain trust in the Packers boardroom says, you know what, Goody is just, we're slipping because of personnel. The coaching has been okay. We're slipping because of his personnel decisions. We need a new GM. What kind of clock does that put on LaFleur? Because how many GMs get hired and keep the head coach more than a year or two?
Yeah, but
I mean, I would have let go to Gutekunst. Gutekunst has been doing. I think he's been doing a hell of a job. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, his drafts haven't been looking good, but his teams
Not
are
at all.
winning. You know what I mean? His teams have been winning. You know what I mean?
You went from
And
being perennial NFC North champs. When was the last time you won the North now? 5 years ago?
yeah, but that's the rise of the Lions. You know what I mean? They can and Vikings had one good year. You know what I mean? Like it just and you know what I mean? And but at the same time, I hate to bring this up, youngest team in the NFL and still winning at a high rate. You know what I mean? Like
They're
so.
going to be. Oh, yes. Oh, sorry.
So I was gonna say.
That's
So
right.
how do you fire GM that has the team humming? You know
I
what I
think
mean?
the team is not humming. They're doing
It's
enough. They're doing enough. They're doing enough. They're not. I wouldn't say they're humming by Green Bay standards. They're doing it. They're doing enough. But for some reason, dude, let's just say look at it's War Week. We're gonna talk Bears Packers later. So this is not a Bears Packers War Week argument I'm making. Let's say they get swept by the Bears. Let's say they somehow miss the playoffs and the Lions get in, and now the Packers find themselves on the outside looking in because I think we may only send 2 from the North. Let's say by some miracle, the Lions do what they're supposed to do, and the Packers slip. They get swept by the Bears. What do they go? I think if they go 2-3 or 1-4, the Lions can basically get in. Let's say that happens. Okay, what's worst case? If that happens, is Goody really safe at that point? Probably not, because now you've missed the playoffs.
well, we'll see if Ed
And your
Policy
last
extends
playoff
them.
was one and done.
The only thing the biggest concern Packers have right now, it's not LaFleur, it's not Gutekunst. Our biggest concern is Halfley. You know what I mean? Halfley is going to get a
Well, he
head
may
coaching
both.
position.
Yeah.
There's no way that he doesn't get a head coaching position right after this
Well,
season. You know what I mean? The
yeah, I
job
mean,
he's
look at
done.
Lane Kiffin is obviously off the board now because he went to LSU yesterday to go with his daughter's boyfriend who's their linebacker. If you look at the head coaching opportunities, you've got the Titans are available, obviously.
Even without the acquisition of Parsons, our defense was number 9 last year. You know what I mean?
Parsons
And
has
with
quite
Parsons,
literally saved a few games for the Packers this year, man. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
if
he's
Halfley
a
goes, I
monster.
mean, Halfley, like, okay, we know the Titans' job is open. The Jets' job's not going to be open. What other jobs are going to be open this year? New York. New York is open. Okay, so the Giants are open. The
There'll be some
Titans are
firings.
open. Who else is going to be open next year?
And there's some other good defensive coordinators and OCs and actually coaches that might get fired that might go to another team that are all going to be in the mix for head coaching jobs.
So
I think the Giants
Halfley,
should definitely be looking for an offensive coach, though.
me too.
I mean, Dolphins.
I-
There's gonna be several openings.
I think Halfley, you guys might be safe with Halfley. Put it that way is what I'm trying to get at. I don't think you have. I think he might interview,
Yeah.
but
I hope.
yeah. I mean, look, I would like to see Halfley leave. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I agree. He's a hell of a defensive coordinator doing a great job. I think it's a little premature for him to get a head coaching gig.
Packer fans almost want fucking LaFleur to get fired so Halfley gets the job, so we can keep him. We don't want Halfley to leave.
I don't know if that works though for Green Bay. You go from an offensive-minded head coach to the defensive-minded head coach, and you're going to fire the offensive-minded head coach because the offense isn't doing what it should be doing. It's almost kind of an oxymoron.
But I kind of like how we're doing it though. Like, I mean, we're emphasizing the run game. Like, if you see most of our games, Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson are mostly rushing the ball. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if we could play defense and run the ball, you know what I mean, that's a recipe for success for Green Bay.
Hey, Ken,
Yeah.
throw Ivan's comment back up there, will you? And Ivan, thank you for commenting from X, by the way. The Packers are currently the 85 Bears, dependent on rushing attack. You know what? Look what the Bears just did this weekend, though. I mean, look at good football teams outdoor, especially now. This is going to change, fellas. And I know we're short on time, but this is going to change. The adage is good football teams run in December, right? Bears, Packers, outdoor teams, they have to run in December because the elements make the passing game hard. The Bears are kind of in the same boat, Ivan, right now. If you look at this week, the passing game hasn't quite been there for the Bears. The rushing attack, well, number one in the NFL. So we know it is. But with the advent of all these outdoor teams getting dome stadiums, I think this emphasis on running in December over time is going to change.
How great is it though that the Packers and Bears are back on top and back with the rivalry? Like, Lions and Vikings don't matter.
I know Ken the Packer fan and I discussed this a couple times in the offseason. We were saying that we're like, this year the two teams whose division it is are going to be back on top.
Yes, sir.
There we go. I mean, it completely flipped from last year. The two teams are on top last year, at the bottom this year. I mean, that's the NFC North, but that's also the parity of the NFL is ridiculous. That's why you have so many worst to first and these fall offs and Washington goes from the NFC Championship game to a 4-win team. Now, they overachieved last year, but still, I mean, that's why the NFL is the way the NFL is.
The disappointment though, like between Lions and Vikings, like went 15 wins, 14 wins, and to this, this year, it's like, man. And to watch like the Green Bay Packers and the Bears just rise up.
And Isaac, that's got to be a very hard fall from grace for them.
Yeah.
That's just got to really suck.
And Isaac, all you're going to hear this offseason is Frank Ragnar's coming back. He'll save us, just like last offseason. It was Big Z. Oh, don't worry, Big Z will sign. Our defensive line will be fine.
Awesome.
And the thing is, what's funny, even if Frank Ragnow came back, and I was trying to explain this to the Lions fans, how great in game shape is he going to be against his first game was supposed to be against Dallas, against Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams.
Yeah,
like,
he's
stop.
done. He's done. He's never going to play a snap in the league again.
Yeah, he's done.
Oh, well, fellas, we're about out of time. JB's next, and he'll be talking about his Lions. And I'm sure they'll be spending some time on this Lions one-star rating system game Thursday night. We'll start getting into that stuff later in the week as we get into our war week as well with the Bears and the Packers, as we start the 2 games in 3-week stint. And the NFL, has done this with a couple teams, and in a couple cases here, there are playoff implications. The Bears Packers are not the only set of rivals to face the rivals twice in 3 weeks. There are some other big ones out there.
Yep.
This is week 1. It's going to be an interesting week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tonight should be an interesting Monday Night Football game. I know we didn't talk about that much, but there was so much from the weekend to go over, and in the NFC North in specific, because of what a crazy division it's been. But watch JB next. Join us here again tomorrow, and we'll be back for another edition of Ken and Ken. Everyone, have a great morning.
Good show, fellas. That was a good show.